What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hoops and Stuff podcast. I'm your host, Isaac, and today we're just going to be going over the Philadelphia Eagles and Bills game real quick. But this episode is just going to be a pretty quick episode. I just wanted to go over that game since it just happened a couple hours ago. So tonight we've seen a pretty great game between the Buffalo Bills and Philadelphia Eagles, with the score ending at 37-34 in overtime. So to start off the game, we've seen Philly start off at the end of the first quarter with 7 points to Buffalo's 0. And it was looking good for Philly at the beginning of the game until in the second quarter, the Buffalo Bills ended up scoring 17 points to Philly's 0 in the second quarter. So at this point, going into halftime, it's 17-7. Both teams come out after halftime and each score a touchdown, putting it at 7-7 for the third quarter, which is 24-14. Buffalo had the lead. And then in the fourth quarter, the Philadelphia Eagles had 17 points and the Buffalo Bills had 14 points. And the fourth quarter ended with at the 25-second mark, we seen the Philadelphia Eagles kicker Jake Elliott kick a 59-yard field goal in the rain, and it hit the net, which was amazing. He had a great he just had a great kick, and like I said, especially with the rain, it just made it even better, because I'm sure that's a lot harder for him to do in the rain. So forgot about overtime. And then overtime, Buffalo marched on the field but couldn't get the touchdown, and they ended up getting a field goal, which gave Philly the opportunity to score, which they did, and they got the touchdown. So, final score 37-34. And it was a really great game. Justin Fields had 2 rushing touchdowns, and Josh Allen had 1. But it was a close game at the end, and really just like nerve-wracking. And if you look at the stats, we have Josh Allen threw 29 for 51 to Jalen Hurts' 18 and 31. Jalen Hurts threw for 200 yards, whereas Josh Allen threw for 339 yards. And we've seen Josh Allen with 2 touchdowns, Jalen Hurts with 3, and 1 interception thrown for each of them. And Jalen Hurts had a fumble. Josh Allen was the rushing leader for the Bills, and I am mistaken. He actually did have 2. Josh Allen had 2 rushing touchdowns. Sorry. And the receiving leader for the Bills was Gabe Davis with 6 receptions on 105 yards for 1 touchdown. And then for Philly, their rushing leader was DeAndre Swift, 14 carries for 80 yards. And their receiving leader was Devontae Smith, 7 receptions for 106 yards and 1 touchdown. So the players for the Bills that score touchdowns, we've seen Josh Allen with 2, Gabe Davis had 1, Stephon Diggs had 1. And then on the defense, Terrell Bernard had 1. And I believe that should be it for their touchdowns. Yeah, that's all the touchdowns that they scored. That's who scored them. And then for the Eagles, we had 3 touchdowns from Jalen Hurts passing. 1 was to Devontae Smith, 1 was to A.J. Brown, and 1 was, I hate saying this guy's name because I don't know how to say it, Olamide Zaccheaus. he's the third string receiver for the Eagles, but I don't know. I never know how to say his name. But and then for their rushing, Jalen Hurts had two rushing touchdowns. He had 65 yards rushing, and they had an interception from James Bradbury. Sorry, and oh wait, I read that wrong. For the Bills, the interception was from Terrell Bernard, not a touchdown. So they only had Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Josh Allen with two. But as for the actual gameplay, it was like I said, it was a great game, and right at the end in overtime, DeAndre Swift had a really nice big gain on the run, which led them to getting a rushing touchdown with Jalen Hurts to win the game, which I was sitting on the couch with my family, and I'm like, last play of the game, I'm like, Jalen Hurts is running it for a touchdown right here. They snapped the ball off, and right down the left, like a little to the left, he gets in for the touchdown. So I feel like he's a very predictable player just because he runs quite a bit, and I could definitely see that coming from a mile away, but definitely not a bad quarterback for that Philadelphia Eagles team. He plays phenomenal, and last year he had a near MVP season, so he's a great quarterback. And same thing with Josh Allen, he's also a great quarterback, but the Bills have been struggling this year. They are down to 6-6, and they are in the hunt for a playoff spot. And the Eagles moved up to 10-1 with having the best record in the league, and they are the first team since the Buffalo Bills in 1991 to start off their season 9-1 after losing in the Super Bowl. So that was a pretty interesting fact that I had seen/heard. And the Eagles were favored to win this game, so it shouldn't really be a surprise. And they were actually favored to win by 3, and then they ended up winning by 3. But what really sold the game was, I don't know who it was, but Josh Allen was throwing to one of his receivers. And again, I don't know who messed up the route, but either Josh Allen threw the wrong way or the receiver went the wrong way, because the receiver goes straight, he goes left, and Josh Allen throws the ball as if the receiver was supposed to go right. But it made it like Josh Allen made it look like he was the one that messed up, so I'm not really sure who messed up for that route, but that definitely sold the game because the receiver was wide open too. Like, he had a wide open touchdown. So that was definitely a big determining factor of the game. And we also seen Jordan Davis go out at the end of the game, and I know Fletcher Cox was hurt at some point in the game, but I don't know if he ended up coming back or not. And another thing, towards the end of the fourth quarter, that the Philadelphia Eagles were making some bad plays, like they were just making like stupid mistakes. Like Jason Kelce twice had a false start. Like 2 possessions, they might have been in a row. They were like near each other if they weren't in a row. And it was just, it just seemed like weird, like how he messed it up twice. And then they still ended up going into overtime, like I said. And so yeah, that was a little weird from Jason Kelce. And they were just like, they had to end up wasting their timeout because they had like Jalen Hurts run the ball or something. Like, they were just making some stupid plays at the end of the fourth quarter, but they were definitely saved by Jake Elliott. And I want to see if I can figure out who dropped that pass at the end, because it was a great pass from Josh Allen if the player would have went to the right side. But I'm just gonna search it up real quick and see if I can find it. I guess it would just be like a player dropped pass from Josh Allen. And I want to see if I can try to find who that was. It doesn't show who ended up dropping the pass, but I will try to find that out before I end this episode, and I'll let you guys know if I figure out who it is. I'm going to try to look on the play-by-play to see if there's anything there. But yeah, I think it would have definitely been over if that was that. I don't think the guy could have even dropped it. Like, it was like he was ridiculously wide open, but like Josh Allen just looked so frustrated after that, and I think that they need to work on their connection or something, because that seemed to have been the problem right there. And I mean, especially in like overtime when you really need it. But yeah, I can't find it right now, but in a second I will go and try to find, actually I should say, who ended up dropping the pass. So I'll be right back. Okay, so it looks like the player who the pass was supposed to be to was Gabe Davis. So, like I said, either Gabe Davis or Josh Allen had the wrong route and went to the opposite way. So maybe the team just needs to work on some connection stuff for their next game. And for this Bills team, let's see what they have coming up on their schedule for the rest of the season. Oh, they have some big games coming up. So yeah, the Bills are definitely going to have to work on their connection if they're going to want to have a chance of winning these games. They have to play the Chiefs, they have to play they have to play the Chiefs, and then they have to play the Cowboys. So they have 2 back-to-back hard games. And actually make that 3 back-to-back hard games, because they have to play the Chargers right after that. And then they play the Patriots, which is kind of an easier game, but they did lose to them earlier in the season. So definitely a game that they have to make sure they win. And then they play the Dolphins. So they have, out of their last 5 games, they have 4 pretty hard games, I'd say, coming up on their schedule. And they are in the hunt for the playoffs right now, so they do need to win a decent amount of these games to make the playoffs. That's going to be it for today's episode. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys here on the Hoops and Stuff podcast next Sunday.